Welcome to MINDSHOCK. This is the Cobra Kai Logical Analysis. The only analysis of this martial arts TV show with logic and reason at the forefront, attempting not to fall for any logical fallacies, unlike everything else out there. I'm, of course, your host, Bruce McGuire. If you want to help support the podcast, help logic and reason return to a world where it is quickly going extinct, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. If you're not getting them, you could become a free patron. Even the free tier will have all the notifications for the latest podcasts. Just check the link in the description. You can also check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. You can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Help support the channel that way. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comments section. Or if you were with us here live, in the live chat, I'll try to get to all of them. So first things first. Before we can even get into reviewing this legendary series, possibly for all the wrong reasons that it is legendary, we have to get to the origin of this story. So for those familiar with the Karate Kid films, I mean, these are some of the worst martial arts movies ever made. The so-called karate action is so choppy and horribly staged and edited. I mean, it is truly the razziest of the bigger budget martial arts franchises. I mean, it's almost kind of insane to say it, but I think the best action might actually be in part of the canon. Well, there's actually some debate, but technically it is canonical. Is the next Karate Kid with, of all people, Hilary Swank. This is actually the swankiest of the Karate Kid films. And unless I missed some Easter eggs, I'm not sure it was actually referenced in Cobra Kai, but there's a ton of Easter eggs in this series. But yeah, this this movie, obviously without the schmuck Daniel LaRusso, the scrawny kid scumbag from Jersey. Obviously, the one true hero of this entire franchise is Johnny Lawrence, and this was all pre-Cobra Kai. So I think we actually addressed this on one of the live Q&As, but the entire idea for the series was born from a random YouTube video, but it actually could have predated even that. Let's take a look. I mean, obviously online people have been discussing this for quite a long time, but let's look at this season 4, episode 15 of the TV show How I Met Your Mother, which aired March 2nd, 2009, before we dive into this, tracing this chronologically.
Deliver what are your requests?
Oh, thank you, Marshall.
Oh, not that one.
An appearance by my all-time idol, the Karate Kid.
The Karate Kid was an uplifting 80s classic about a teen, played by Ralph Macchio, who defeats the local jerk, played by William Zabka. At least that's how most people saw it.
Here he is, just as hot as when his Tiger Beat photo spread gave a young girl the courage to explore the suddenly unfamiliar topography of her changing body. The Karate Kid!
Hey, Barney, it's Ralph. Listen, it's always flat.
No! I hate Ralph Macchio. I hate him, hate him, hate him. He is not the Karate Kid. The Karate Kid was William Zabka, star pupil of the Cobra Kai dojo, whom this monster defeated with a cheap, illegal head kick.
And we're actually going to do an examination of whether that kick was legal or illegal. And we're gonna get a very definitive answer here. For some reason, some believe this is up for discussion, but I mean, this is very, very clear-cut. Obviously, fair use here on this clip. Nothing but fair use. Fair use all the time.
In the most tragically haunting film ending of all time.
Oh, see, I thought you meant fun crazy.
Shut it, Ralph Macchio. Why don't you go have a party with Luke Skywalker and Harry Potter and Warhorse and all the other movie bad guys and stop ruining mine? This night has been catastrophic.
Catastrophic! Everybody pound.
Sorry, bro. I'm
Face for the crotch! Surprise! What's going on?
Well, we decided to give you everything you wanted for your bachelor party without you even realizing it.
Wait, so that's why you made me think Marshall might die? And I'd lost all that money and my friends hated me and my wedding was off? You just decided to check off everything on this list in the most twisted way imaginable? That is awesome!
And it was all planned by a girl.
So, Lily, later on tonight, you want to,
Whoa, that was all just part of the act. You knew that, right?
Yeah, totally. We pulled it off, right? Platonic shake.
You know what's kind of weird? How many people don't or think that Macchio doesn't give off the skeezy, scummy vibe? Because he's got it in every single movie, every single interview, every single real-life interview. I mean, outside of The Karate Kid and My Cousin Vinny, which of course he was the worst part of, even though the movie's highly entertaining, I mean, has he even done anything? I mean, just so scummy here.
Everyone, thank you for an incredible bro mitzvah.
Mazel brov.
I didn't really get everything on the list. No offense to Ralph Macchio, but he ain't the Karate Kid.
I couldn't agree with you more.
You know, they almost didn't get me.
But after 18 voicemails, I returned Robin's call. And she told me how you're one of the few people in the world who truly gets the Karate Kid movie. So when she asked if I'd help, well, my answer just had to be.
Thanks! William Zabka!
So there you have it. That was the season 4, episode 15 episode of How I Met Your Mother, referencing these online theories. Now let's take it a step further. J. Matthew Turner uploaded this video almost a decade ago. This was August 23rd, 2015. The Karate Kid, Daniel, is the real bully. So let's look at the origin of this.
The Karate Kid is the story of Daniel, a violent sociopath who moves to a California town and begins tormenting a local boy and his friends. Johnny is a high school senior with a commitment to atone for past mistakes and move his life forward in a positive direction.
No, ex-degenerate, man. 8 a.m. tomorrow, I'm a senior. I've got 1 year to make it all work. And that's what I'm gonna do, make it work.
They are destined to meet when Daniel's neighbor invites him to a beach party where he becomes instantly obsessed with Johnny's newly ex-girlfriend, Allie.
And I.
After a courtship ritual consisting solely of creepy, unbroken eye contact, he approaches her, only to be summarily rebuffed. Johnny arrives to patch things up with Allie, but the discussion becomes heated.
Well, I want to talk to you, all right?
Now I want to be clear about this. What Johnny is doing is not okay, and he should respect her wish to be left alone. Johnny is, in the end, a flawed hero. But one thing he is definitely not doing is getting violent. Daniel, however, seeing an opportunity to insert himself into Allie's life, chooses to escalate the situation, demanding the return of Allie's radio. Frustrated and heartbroken, Johnny complies with Daniel's request, and in the heat of the moment, pushes him down. Daniel now has the radio, and Allie is still in no danger. Nevertheless, he attacks Johnny, who merely steps aside, allowing Daniel to knock himself to the ground twice.
I mean, it is kind of hard to argue with this. I mean, the amount of restraint here by this physical specimen, Johnny Lawrence. I mean, he could have easily added punches and kicks and stomped this guy's lights out. But he chose pretty much the least physical option. Just a trip allowing this goofy Daniel kid, this goofy Jersey punk, to fall all over himself. I mean, this is, he didn't throw any punches or kicks here. There was a shove to get him to back off. Then Daniel attempts to sucker punch him. He steps aside, trips him, then does it again. I mean, this is... I mean, I don't know how much more restraint you can expect from a high school kid in an altercation about a girl. I mean, clearly martial arts and the Cobra Kai dojo has taught him a lot about self-control here. Clearly.
I didn't do anything!
But when Daniel refuses to let it go, Johnny must use force to end this violent outburst, for the safety of everyone present. So what is Daniel's response to Johnny's non-aggression? Pow! A sucker punch right to the mouth.
And already you can see the punk tendencies of LaRusso here. So he plays possum. He's playing possum here. Pretending to be more hurt than he is. And then Zabka comes up. It's unclear what he's going to do. Whether he's going to offer a hand to help him up or to just threaten him to stay away. And then bam! Sucker punch. So you could already see the scumbag tendencies of LaRusso here.
A sucker punch right to the mouth. Johnny defends himself, as is his legal right, and then de-escalates the situation by leaving the scene entirely. The next day in school, Daniel trips while playing sport ball. Rather than accepting that occasional bumps and bruises will happen during playtime, Daniel instead externalizes the blame onto Johnny's friend Bobby and proceeds to ground and pound him, MMA style. A few days later, Daniel attempts to enroll at a karate school, obviously intending to up his game so he can get revenge on Johnny. Put it this way, how would you feel if someone picked a fight with you, lost, and then went out the next day and bought a gun? Well, that's exactly how Johnny feels when Daniel shows up at Cobra Kai, so he decides to send a message. Your violence will not be tolerated, because Johnny knows what can happen when you teach karate to a person with a bad attitude. Months go by, and no one bothers anyone. Clearly, this conflict is over. Until Daniel, unprovoked and for absolutely no reason, drenches Johnny with water in the middle of a school function, ruining his night.
And that's another good point there. I mean, boys will be boys. There were scuffles, etc. But apparently everything was fine. And then he just decides to pull this prank for no reason, knowing full well. But, So Daniel Russo's pretty stupid, but we're not going to say he's mentally disabled, are we? Like, we're not going to call him a vegetable. He must know full well the level of escalation that would result from this prank. Because he knows full well this is a karate guy with a hot temper, with other karate guy friends with hot tempers. So everything was basically fine, the heat all died down, there were supposedly no more issues. And then LaRusso's the great escalator. This Jersey scumbag.
To add irony to injury, in the middle of a school function, ruining his night. To add irony to injury, Johnny was at that very moment sparking up a J, which is just about the least violent thing you can do.
That weasel snagged the bee. All right.
But I digress. Daniel has crossed the line this time, and he knows it. After causing a multi-car collision, he flees into the night.
I mean, this narcissistic, ego-dominated goof scumbag from Jersey is just, he's such a terror. I mean, he's just causing issues everywhere he goes. What a scumbag goof.
There is no telling what further damage this unbalanced and violent
And that's kind of rude and inconsiderate of other people's property, to just run across somebody's hood like that. Look at all that space to the right. He could have easily walked around. You know, the goof just stomps all over an innocent civilian's vehicle.
individual will do, and once again, it falls on Johnny to contain Daniel's fury. After local busybody, karate master, and child batterer Mr. Miyagi intervenes, Daniel convinces him that this is somehow all Johnny's fault. So they go to Johnny's sacred place, the Cobra Kai studio, and challenge him to yet another fight. Johnny accepts the challenge and even agrees to refrain from defending himself against any more of Daniel's unprovoked aggression until the match.
No one touches the prima donna until the tournament.
Daniel, of course,
Man, Kreese really was smart and observant, even back in those days, or as Andrew Tate would say, perspicacious. Very observant at the prima donna that LaRusso is. I mean, that's a good word for LaRusso. Prima donna. I mean, pansy's another one. Or back in the day, they'd call him a Nancy boy.
sees this as a license to continue to harass Johnny in public with impunity.
Alright, watch this. Hey guys, how you doing? It's good to see you. Hey, sorry about the eye there, Johnny. Shoulder okay, Tommy? You guys be careful not to go stepping in front of any more buses now, alright?
The day of the tournament arrives. Johnny is there, defending his title. Daniel, meanwhile, is a danger to himself and others as he doesn't even know the basic.
And real quick here, for the people that argue that face kicks are legal,
Meanwhile,
kicks to the head are legal. Kicks directly to the face
rules
are not. So look here. They point to some of these matches in the tournament with people getting kicked in the face to try to say that it's legal. These kicks are clearly to the side of the head and not to the front of the face. I mean, that was the side of the head. That wasn't a front kick to the face. But we'll get to that later.
Hey, sorry about the eye there, Johnny. Shoulder okay, Tommy? You guys be careful not to go stepping in front of any more buses now, alright?
The day of the tournament arrives. Johnny is there, defending his title. Daniel, meanwhile, is a danger to himself and others as he doesn't even know the basic rules of engagement.
Alright, what are the rules here?
Don't know.
To no one's surprise, Johnny advances to the final round, and karma catches up with Daniel when his leg is injured by the boy he wantonly attacked on the soccer field. However, just as Johnny is about to be awarded his trophy, Daniel is granted unnatural strength by the demon sorcerer Miyagi, enabling him to defeat Johnny and win the tournament in an upset. Ever mindful of good sportsmanship, Johnny lets go of his sadness at losing, subjugates his ego, and personally presents Daniel with his tainted blood trophy. May you choke on it in your wet dreams, you rotten... Thanks for watching.
Does anybody think that Daniel would have been this good sport if it was reversed? If Johnny had cheated and kicked him straight in the face with an illegal hit, would Daniel LaRusso present him with the trophy? What does everybody think about that? All right, so let's get into the nature of this kick, whether it was illegal or not. But clearly, the storyline had already been written long before the TV show kind of embraced this narrative to a certain extent. This was supposed to be Johnny's show. In later seasons, it kind of got hijacked. We'll be getting into that as well. But let's break down the rules here. So, in Karate Kid 3, so supposedly the only rule change is that if there are no points, it goes to sudden death. This was revealed in Karate Kid Part 3. Also, in Karate Kid Part 3, the referee clearly lays out the rules that everybody knows because they've always been the same. So let's listen to this for anybody hallucinating that the kick was legal. Actually, let's watch the kick. I don't think I put the kick on the screen yet, so... let's actually get the kick on the screen. So here is the kick, the infamous kick directly to the front of the face. So this isn't like a round kick to the side of the head or anything like that, because those are technically legal because they're not directly to the face. Now, I don't know if we have to deal with people who don't understand basic English, but the face is the front of the head, not the side of the head. The face is what contains your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. The side of the head is not the face. That's the side of the head. So now let's watch the rules being read in Karate Kid Part 3. And right before this, the ref just says that the only new change is that there could be sudden death. So apparently the rest of the rules are identical all the time.
Know the rules. Light contact is allowed to the body, and I do mean light, Mr. Barnes. No face contact is allowed. Any violation of the rules will result in a penalty point. On your line. No face contact is allowed. 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 No face contact. Know the rules.
So, if any LaRusso bootlickers exist, I mean, can this be any more clear? Can this be dumbed down any further? Because a lot of goofs online are saying no punches to the face, but kicks to the face are allowed. No striking the face is allowed, either by kick or punch. No face contact. And that's actually, in a lot of karate tournaments, that is the rule. Like, you can't punch or kick straight to the face. But you can to the side of the head, or the rest of the body. So this is pretty consistent with many karate tournaments. Alright, let's go to, that was Exhibit A. Let's go to Exhibit B, the prima donna's own mouth.
At the beginning, they say no kicks to the face, or whatever the referee says at the beginning. So I guess in retrospect on what the initial rules were, arguably it could have been, but you know, it's power of suggestion.
So this scumbag, look at the sleaze coming off of this guy. It's practically emanating from his pores. Just this scuzzy, skeezy vibe. But anyway, he copes by saying it's the power of suggestion. He later goes on to elaborate. Basically, it's like storytelling, character story, so you kind of get away with it. But clearly, even he admitted, but even he couldn't, like, his ego wouldn't let him to admit it directly. So he had to, you know, cope with this phrasing of in retrospect of the rules were, it could have arguably been. I mean, just the level of gophery there. But in this article here on The Wrap from 2018, let's look at this. The exact quote here was, no hits to the face was clearly something when the referee made a list of things of what not to do. So no hits to the face. No punching or kicking directly to the face. So is there anything left to discuss here from the goofs that hallucinated wasn't illegal by trying to point to other matches where people are getting kicked in the head, but not directly the front of the face? And even if they did skim the face a little bit, it's kind of like no hits to the back of the head in MMA. Like, it could happen in skirmishes. That's completely different, or in scramble situation when feet and fists are flying all over the place. But this is clearly a premeditated, intentional direct kick to the face, directly to the front of the face. Like, there's no chance it was like intended as a round kick that skimmed part of the face. Like, you could argue in the tournament, some of the matches, they were kicking the side of the head, but the foot might have brushed part of the face. This is completely different. This is a direct, intentional, single kick to the front of the face. Not in a scramble, not in the middle of random kicks and punching while both guys are moving. Johnny's going straight at him, and he kicks him directly straight to the front of the face. So, there's no way, I mean, I don't know how many LaRusso bootlickers can hallucinate that this is somehow legal in any way. This is a blatant violation of the rules. Now, who knows how devious the filmmakers were? Because, you know, Ralph Macchio's this just scrawny punk kid that it's a stretch of the imagination that he could beat a physical specimen like Zabka, even with cheating. But again, who knows how much of this demon magic that Miyagi implanted in Daniel when he took the pain away from his leg. I mean, we really don't know exactly what kind of other voodoo Miyagi was doing behind the scenes. But yeah, I mean, just, and the sportsmanship of Johnny, like, this clear violation of the rules. I mean, the most blatant violation we've ever seen. Like, this isn't some kind of accident or some kind of scramble situation. Just an absolute clear violation, blatant. So now that we've firmly established that LaRusso's the clear villain here, the narcissistic villain, just everything about his attitude just screams this narcissistic Jersey scumbag. So now let's see how they handled it in the TV show.
Is that Daniel LaRusso's daughter?
Yeah, you know Samantha?
You're dating a LaRusso?
Yeah, why? Is something wrong?
We need to talk. It was the summer of '82. Rocky III had just come out. My buddy Dutch was a huge Mr. T fan, so we went to the local theater to check it out. Sitting in front of us was this group of cute chicks eating popcorn. And Dutch started throwing milk duds at them.
What? Why would he do that?
Cause it's an alpha move, man. Babes love when you treat them like crap.
I have to say, the season 1 writing was probably the best. Season 1 is probably the best season. I mean, everything about it. It even looked more cinematic, like some of the shot setups. Where in the later seasons, it was almost like Marvel style, where they were just doing crazy camera work for the sake of crazy camera work. And everything was just gloss, substance. It's all style over substance. That's how I would summarize the later seasons. But season 1, and even season 2 is pretty solid. Season 3, not terrible, but everything goes downhill in season 4. 4, 5, 6, I mean, it becomes such a cesspool. Spoiler alert, obviously, if you're watching this logical analysis, you should be knowing that there are massive spoilers here. I mean, but season 1 and 2, and 3 was okay. One really is just absolutely stellar here. Everything from all the acting to the dialogue to the 1980s references. I mean, if you like 80s stuff, I mean, they practically abandoned that in the last 2-3 seasons. Whereas that was some of the most hilarious. I mean, this truly is a comedy series. Like, the movie series wasn't, you know, it's not really a comedy. But season 1, I mean, this was just above and beyond what, you know, I forgot the review, but somebody said there was one review about season 1 where this show is better than it has any right to be. And I thought that was a really good summary of the show. I mean, it's just so far above and beyond what anyone could expect, and that's why it did so well and spanned all these seasons. But yeah, season 1 really is something.
Anyway, eventually Cause it's an alpha move, man. Babes love when you treat them like crap. Anyway, eventually the girls got so pissed off, one of them stood up and started yelling at us. That's when I saw her for the first time.
Saw who?
Allie. She dumped popcorn all over Dutch, got butter all over him. I could tell right away, man. This chick was a firecracker.
So did you ask her out?
Yeah, I hit on her a few times till she gave me a chance. Went to golf and stuff for our first date. Kissed on the Ferris wheel. We were madly in love.
Obviously, a whole bunch of fair use up in here. Look at all this fair use going on. But look at Zabka's acting skill. I mean, that is just true. Just true, genuine nature there. I mean, this is practically indistinguishable. I mean, this kind of authenticity in thespianism. I mean, he's no Alex Jones or Steven Seagal, but I mean, Zabka's gotta be up there. Zabka's gotta be up there. I mean, he isn't often talked about as a thespianistic powerhouse worthy of Academy Awards. But I mean, come on, look at this performance here. I mean, this is practically indistinguishable from anybody reminiscing about their youth. I mean, look at that authenticity on this guy's face. Really impressive stuff here. You don't really see anything like this in the later seasons. There's a moment in the finale, in the series finale, that a moment between him and Kreese, the character of Kreese, Martin Cove, where the acting's pretty on point, but other than that, the last few seasons were pretty terrible for a lot of different reasons, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let's finish this clip here.
Dated for 2 years. For For Valentine's Day, instead of rings, I gave her this pink jelly bracelet. She gave me this.
So then what happened?
Summer before my senior year, we got into a fight. I figured we'd work things out eventually. But then Daniel LaRusso came to town.
This is it. This is the end of the line.
Next thing I know, he's hitting on her. I see the two of them flirting with each other.
What do you do?
Oh, I walked over to have a civil conversation with Allie.
What is your problem?
Look, why don't you just take your little Cobra Kais and get out of here?
Oh, yeah, right. And that's gonna solve everything.
But LaRusso kept butting it.
What's going on?
Yeah, just
Got it. All right.
I told him to get lost, mind your own business. Out of nowhere, the guy sucker punches.
What an asshole.
I know, man.
I mean, you could really tell what kind of narcissist LaRusso is. He just can't take the L and diffuse a situation. He had to sucker punch and keep instigating the situation, because the amount of restraint Lawrence possessed here in dealing with this Jersey punk, I mean, from the character, you know, you would think he would have stomped his face into the ground, but the amount of restraint shown, and it's all LaRusso continuing the instigation here.
I did what any dude would do. I defended myself. You know, I figured that was that. But LaRusso wouldn't leave it alone. At the Halloween dance, I'm sitting there minding my own business. He douses me with the water hose. Haven't seen the guy in months. Fucking turns a water hose on my head. So I chase him down, try to put an end to things that night, right? Turns out the guy's got a karate master of his own. Guy comes out of nowhere, jumps us, assaults me and my friends. I think my buddy Tommy got brain damage because of that fight.
Oh my God.
Eventually we decided to work things out at the All Valley tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your, please, the final, Daniel LaRusso, Miyagi Do Karate versus John Lawrence of the Cobra Kai.
So we both made it was 2-2.
What happened? Who won?
LaRusso won, I lost. But what's worse is I lost Allie.
Yeah.
All right, the reason I'm telling you all this is because you gotta watch out for the LaRusso. The reason I'm telling you all this is because you gotta watch out for the LaRusso.
And Johnny here didn't even mention how it was he cheated and won by an illegal kick. That should have been a point deduction. So he mentions it in the series, but he didn't mention it at this moment here, because it wasn't even about that, because he's not a narcissist. He's a genuine person trying to help his student here. Rethink Inc. says, what's really funny is that people think Danielson's the good guy in the movie when he's not. He's the outsider that comes in, steals the dude's woman by being a tough guy. Yeah, we just went over all that. I don't know if you just got here, but yeah, we went over all of that. LaRusso's clearly the Jersey scumbag in the wrong in all of these situations. Lord Zed says, if we think LaRusso is worse than we originally thought, I shudder to think of when we examine the questionable motives of Mr. Miyagi. Yeah, it's rough. See, I mean, Miyagi, the product of war. I mean, who knows what his true motives were? But the thing is, I mean, it's kind of crazy how he even agreed to help Daniel, because couldn't he tell he was this punk kid? And if he could and he wanted to help the punk kid, why didn't he fix his attitude? I mean, how could he continue to have this punk run around being this narcissistic scumbag? Because in other movies, in actually good martial arts classics, there's a lot of movies where where the lead is kind of narcissistic and self-absorbed, and through all the discipline, he actually becomes a good person. Kickboxer 2 is actually kind of like that with Sasha Mitchell. Kickboxer 2, he's kind of like a little bit of a self-entitled kind of guy. Sasha Mitchell plays, for those that remember the original Kickboxer 2. I'm going to put the poster on the screen. He kind of takes a lot of things for granted, and then through all additional training, I mean, he was already a martial artist and kickboxer, but through additional training throughout the movie, he becomes a much better person, but we never saw that happen with Daniel. He's the same Jersey scumbag. Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, the entire series. Like, he never actually changes. He's just a self-entitled scumbag the whole time. Oh, okay, Rethink Inc. Yeah, watch this from the beginning. I go into the entire history of Johnny being the good guy, and it being known well before the Cobra Kai series. Wow, Lord Zed bringing out Final Impact 1992. I think I have that on VHS somewhere. Let me see if I remember this movie. I remember the name. Oh, are you talking about the Lorenzo Lamas movie? Okay, I definitely have it. I'm not 100% sure I watched it, and I don't remember anything about it other than I know that I have it. I believe I have the entire Lorenzo Lamas catalog. This is Final Impact 1992. Lorenzo Lamas is pretty underrated. We do talk about the Renegade TV series, one of the greatest TV shows of all time. No doubt. We gotta do a Lorenzo Lamas deep dive. One of the unsung martial arts heroes of the 90s. Alright, so the Snake Eater movie series is pretty cool too. Alright, so that's the Johnny Lawrence saga there. Okay, so let's break down this TV series. So season 1 is actually really good. The writing, the cinematography, the soundtrack, the way it all comes together. So I actually thought it would be terrible because the movies are terrible. Karate Kid 1, 2, 3. I think the next Karate Kid 4, the next Karate Kid, I think that's probably the best movie, probably because Machio's not in it. Although Hilary Swank's not that believable, but swanky enough. Swanky enough. But yeah, the first 3 movies, there's just no believability. The fight scenes are so hokey and horrible. You got this scrawny punk trying to do martial arts. It's so unbelievable. And the fight scenes are terrible. Cobra Kai, the fight scenes are actually decent. They put in a lot of acrobatic flash and all that, which is kind of out of place for a lot of the karate tournaments. But some of the jokes, too, with Johnny Lawrence just being stuck in the past. And I mean, it really is like, it's hard not to recommend Season 1. Season 1 is really, really solid. I mean, I just can't, I have nothing bad to say about Season 1, even Season 2. Now, even Season 3 is passable as well, but 4, it takes this huge nosedive in 4, because there's so many characters, and they're trying to do too much, and they're trying to make the world too big. So, another huge issue, and, you know, we're going to get a lot of hate probably from the woke goofs here, but how are you going to have one of the leads in martial arts be this obese chick? So this is Mauser. What's her name? Mary Mauser. So you got this obese chick as the lead. as one of the leads. She plays Daniel's daughter. There's just zero believability. Absolutely zero believability. I mean, I don't know how this is defended in any way. I mean, obviously her stunt double's doing most of the stuff, but there's just zero believability within the laws of physics. Absolutely none. Whereas, for example, one of the other characters, this is actually one of the best characters, Aisha's character. So this is also an obese individual, but she's actually a really good actress too. I mean, Mauser is horrible. No believability in the martial arts or acting. Whereas, I don't even know this actress's name, but she plays Aisha. I think season 1 and 2. I'm not sure if she's in 3. Total believability, both in acting. She's a phenomenal actress, and the fight scenes work. Because, I mean, she's not pretending to not be obese. Whereas Mauser, with the fight scenes, they're kind of pretending she's not obese, so none of it actually works. But, I mean, how are you going to have a lead? No, I mean, yeah, okay, if she actually had skills, I'm not, like, obviously you got people like Sammo Hung who could pull it off. If they made that the character, where it's this just, you know, morbidly obese fat chick who could actually fight. The problem is she doesn't actually have any martial arts skills. That's the issue. And that really takes you out of the show if you're a fan of any kind of believability. And once again, this same show can handle obese individuals like Aisha. There's also like 2 other fat guys in it, where they make it work. It's believable. The choreography reflects that. They're not pretending to not be obese. Whereas Mauser's kind of pretending to not be obese, and the choreography is as if she's not obese. Like with Sammo Hung, I mean, this guy's, you know, pushing 300 pounds. He could still flip. He doesn't need a stunt double. He is the stunt double. For people familiar with Sammo Hung, one of the legends of martial arts cinema. I mean, this guy's morbidly obese, but he's got the skills. So it doesn't matter, and they even play off of it for laughs that he's that fat. For those who haven't seen the classic show Martial Law here in the U.S., it was a pretty great show. I mean, but this guy, I mean, he built an entire career of being this obese fat guy who can flip and fight, and it's totally believable. It's totally believable, and the choreography reflects it. But when you have characters like Mauser, who's just this obese, pretending not to be obese. I don't know, maybe you could say she's borderline obese, depending on the BMI. She goes in and out of being technically classified as obese. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the beginning of season 1, she was like borderline, and then she kind of crossed over, but there's just no believability, and she's one of the leads. She's Daniel's daughter. None of it makes any sense. She hasn't trained in forever, and who knows how serious. I mean, how seriously could she have ever even trained if she became this obese this early? She's supposed to be this high school kid. So, yeah, I mean, there's huge issues with the show. Lord Zed says, for real, season 1, one of the best things I ever experienced in life. It really was unpredictable. Other than Mauser, I mean, season 1 has practically no flaws. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious. The fight scenes are well done, and the world is small enough to be believable. So, that's one of the issues with the later season. Once they bring in all these other villains like Silver, and they try to make it about this world tournament, and the world gets too big where it's just no longer believable. I mean, one of the main jokes of season 1 and 2 is that it's just karate. It's just some kind of all-valley karate tournament. It's not that serious. Barely anybody knows about it. Then it kind of gets popular. But it's still small enough to have some kind of inkling of believability, whereas in the later seasons, everything's blown out of proportion. Now, if they did like old style shows where they had 22 episodes, maybe they could have built it and made it work. But with the modern short series format, where it's just 8 to 10 episodes, I mean, you're really... There's not much you can do there. You have to kind of keep the world small enough to make it believable and entertaining. And then once you introduce too many characters, too many dojos, it's just... It turns into a big mess. The other thing that's an issue in season 4, 5, and most of 6, I mean, I have to say the finale, I mean, they really did, I would say they did a decent recovery for the finale. I don't want to say they knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's not anywhere near as good as season 1, but they at least attempted to kind of go back to the roots. I actually don't want to spoil too much just because I haven't so far. So maybe I won't go into super spoilers. Just for anybody watching this that hasn't watched all the seasons, but yeah, season 1 definitely an all-star season. I mean, other than Mauser, you know, this super chunky obese / borderline obese chick trying to pretend she's not, and somehow being able to believe. Supposedly they're trying to make it believable fights with other characters. I mean, there's just basic physics and athleticism. I mean, it's just not going to work. The other issue is with this goof. The Dimitri goof was completely unbelievable as well. Let me bring up an image of this guy. Like, with Hawk's character, it almost makes sense because he had so much rage that he could convert to training. And his attitude, it just made it work. Everything works for Hawk's character. That's an example of how you can make a geek transformation believable. But for this other character, Dimitri, it's so unbelievable. I mean, this guy has zero athletic ability. There's no way he's going to catch up and not just hang. Like, how is he able to hang with anybody in any of these fights? Because not only is he so many months and months behind in training, he just randomly starts training and he can sort of hang with some of them. It's so unbelievable. I mean, this is almost on the level of Mauser's obesity in just taking you out of the show. So there's huge strikes against it. Now, this wasn't season 1, mind you. So, you know, that's not a point against season 1. Mauser is pretty much the only point against season 1. But, yeah, season 2 is still solid. Season 3 is also pretty decent. Some of the twists and turns they have within the plot. And the fact that they still keep working in, they still keep milking a lot of the Johnny... It doesn't understand modern society and modern technology. They milk it pretty decent into season 3. I'll say, once season 4 comes around, I mean, everything goes downhill so quick with 4 and 5 and 6. But the finale, the recovery in the finale, and just because I haven't done that many specific spoilers, I actually don't really want to spoil it, because I don't know if there's a reason to. But it does recover for the finale. So if you've made it as far as, let's say, season 5, you might as well finish it. But yeah, the recovery's not bad. But they should have maintained some of the sentiment in the finale. If they had maintained that through season 4, 5, 6, it might have actually worked. But, you know, there wasn't really a reason for it to be this many seasons. And they just kept trying. They brought back too many people and didn't flesh them out enough. Like when Allie came back. I mean, there were just a lot of issues. They could have... Okay, I'm going to go with some spoilers. So Allie comes back. They actually got Elizabeth Shue to come back. And somehow... Oh, my bad. Is season 5... Hold on a second. So yeah, season 6 was released in 3 parts, so there were actually 15 episodes. Yeah, that was kind of wonky. So season 1 through 5 were each 10 episodes. And then that's the other issue too. These are supposed to be 1 year at a time, but season 1 aired in 2018. And season 6, just the finale's 2025. So you're talking, I mean, almost 7-year span of what's supposed to be 3 years. 4 years. Not even 4. Are they freshmen? Are they freshmen or sophomores? And okay, so even if it was 4 years, I mean, they just stretched it. The characters look quite a bit different. You know, Mauser just keeps getting larger and larger. The believability's out the window. If they had gone the Aisha route and actually worked her obesity into the choreography and somehow made it work that way, like Sammo Hung style, that would have actually been really cool. They should have done that. That would have made the show that much better. And also empowering for the obese people. Because Sammo Hung, like a lot of fat guys, you know, they're big fans of Sammo Hung. You can see what a big man can do. There's really not the equivalent on the female side. So this was another missed opportunity there. But, yeah, so Allie comes back. And there's a lot of missed opportunities there, too, because she's getting divorced. She's getting divorced. And so that was season 3. There was an opportunity for her to get back together with Johnny. They should have gone that route. They really should have. That would have made the show that much more interesting. And a little bit more full circle for those who have seen the finale. They could have completely gone full circle. They also missed some opportunities to have a bigger full circle with Kreese. Kreese and Silver have a very interesting end. And it's kind of wild watching some clips from the first 3 Karate Kid movies when you know what's going to happen to all the characters. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a really interesting series just because of all the highs and lows. There's definitely highs, especially season 1. And there's a whole lot of lows. Seasons 4, 5, 6. But, yeah. A lot of problems in the later seasons. Just too many characters, too many arcs, too many missed opportunities, and just the focus shifting away from Cobra Kai and the Cobra Kai philosophy, and Daniel's just annoyingness is pretty crazy. But I like the tie-ins back with Okinawa, where Daniel goes back to Okinawa. They were quite interesting. But when they brought back Chosen gets really annoying in season 6. I mean, it just they ruin the character. I mean, it's like almost every TV show, sitcom or not, there's just this one character that they just keep going over the top with. It almost reminded me of Eric from Boy Meets World, where they just kept making him more and more comical, completely ruining the entire character. That's kind of what they did with Chosen, especially in season 6, season 5 and 6. So yeah, I mean, there's my logical analysis. I'm not going to go into this, into this multi-hour breakdown unless more people want that. But I really wanted to do the setting the stage where it's clearly obvious that Johnny was the good guy and Daniel was the bad guy just from his attitude alone. And just watching even the entire Cobra Kai series, I think Machio is just that much of a narcissist in real life. He can't hide it for his characters, so it just comes out in all of his characters. Just the entitlement is just out of control. And for a supposed martial artist, I mean, it's just crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't that disappointed with the finale. There's some really major issues with the show. Mauser, the Dimitri character. Other than that, I mean, and Chosen's character being destroyed. That was an interesting choice to bring him back from Karate Kid Part 2. Interesting redemption arc there. I mean, the story of redemption that runs through a lot of the characters, I would say that's one of the highlights of the show. And then, of course, just the soundtrack really is something. Not enough good things can be said about this soundtrack. But if anybody has any questions with the breakdown, their own thoughts, theories, opinions, feel free to bring them up. Hawk's character was one of the most fun. And again, he would have never become what he became if not for Johnny's no-nonsense, anti-woke just mannerisms and coaching style, I guess you could say, teaching style. And they kind of moved slightly away from that in the later season. I don't know if that was just naturally, you know, the Netflix woke tilt. Because season 1 was actually YouTube Red back in 2017. So yeah. So if nobody has any more questions, I mean, I'll wrap that up. I might do a part 2 here, kind of focusing on certain points here. It actually was nominated for Outstanding Comedy Series 2021 Primetime Emmys. It actually premiered 2018, not 2017. So premiered 2018. Thomas Ian Griffith, who plays Terry Silver. I mean, not enough things need to be said about, good things have been said about him either. I mean, his filmography is quite interesting. He did Night of the Warrior with Lorenzo Lamas, coincidentally, which we were just talking about after Karate Kid Part 3. Then he did Ulterior Motives 91 and Excessive Force 92, which was quite good. Excessive Force might be my favorite Griffith movie. Oh yeah, he was also in Vampires 98. Forgot about that. He was in Time Cop 2. Huh, forgot about that as well. He did Pre-K. He wasn't an actor. He wrote, directed, and produced the 2007 movie Pre-K. And then his final acting appearance was actually in Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square in 2020. Wow. What an interesting filmography. Wow. Okay. Well, anyway. Keep this one short today. I don't know why they didn't they should have found a way to bring Hilary Swank back, and supposedly there's gonna be a Cobra Kai movie, or another Karate Kid movie that ties in with Cobra Kai, with Machio. So we'll see how that turns out. That's gonna tie in with the Jackie Chan, Jaden Smith Karate Kid movie, which was a total train wreck for anybody who has seen that. Run Boston Bear just got here. Austin MP88, thanks for the show. Yeah, no problem. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a recommended series. Season 1 for sure. Season 1. I mean, I don't know. You can make a case for Season 1 being one of the greatest TV shows of all time. You probably could. You probably could. I mean, what TV series is better than this? Just Season 1 versus Season 1. Because a lot of TV series... Well, Season 1 is really good, but it kind of hits its stride later. I mean, what else is in the conversation here? Obviously, Lorenzo Lamas' Renegade was pretty good. Highlander, the TV show, I'm a big fan of that. What other TV show can lay the claim to the title of the greatest TV show of all time? The other thing that makes this one so interesting is that the movies are so horrible, and even if you hated the movies, you'll still love Season 1. You might even love Season 1 more if you did hate the movies. Can any other franchise boast that? Because the movies are so terrible. Just with the acting, the hokey fight scenes, they're so horrible. And the series is so good. It's like, the more you hate the movies, is that the more that you're going to like the Cobra Kai TV show? Lord Zed says Power Rangers Season 1. Wow, yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one, my friend. We need to do a deep dive on Power Rangers. We got that coming up as well. Man, can anybody name a better one? Marco Polo 1998 says, my question, I only have 4 episodes left. It feels like the final season has disowned the Cobra Kai fighting method almost entirely. Why? I'm not going to answer that because that's a spoiler. Just keep watching. Keep watching. Keep watching. Yeah, I'll probably do a follow-up. I'll do a part 2 of this later on because I know it just dropped, I think, last week, was it? So maybe people haven't had a chance to see it, because not everybody exists outside of time and space like Bruce McGuire, that they could just release hundreds of podcast episodes and watch dozens and dozens of TV shows and movies every single day, and still have time left over. So yeah. Lord Zed says, season 1 was, man, yeah, I can't put it into words, so amazing. It also had a more serious tone. I mean, even though it was a comedy, there was an underlying serious acting tone. Like, it was a serious series. It wasn't just some throwaway, cheap comedy, which a lot of people thought it would be. I mean, as you would think, from if you had just seen maybe some of the teaser trailers. And it debuted on YouTube. Like, how good is a TV show that's debuting on YouTube Red gonna be? So yeah, the low expectations might have helped it, but there was just something serious and high quality about season 1, even though it was absolutely hilarious. There was just something genuine about it, and just a blending of the generations where all of that just kind of gets lost in the later seasons. And they just too many characters get introduced, and they make the world too big, and it just goes all out of control. But it's a commendable effort to wrap the show up. I will say the finale, just based on the train wrecks of season 4, 5, and 6, I will say they wrapped up the finale. They made the finale way better than I thought it would be, given the train wrecks of season 4, 5, 6. Lord Zed says, it's relatable. The characters, Johnny and Daniel, both lost in their own way. Marco Polo 98 says, Twin Peaks Season 1. Believe it or not, I haven't seen Twin Peaks. I mean, I remember bits and pieces of it when it was on TV, but I don't think I ever sat down and watched full episodes. I know that's going to be really shocking for many, just based on my palate. Because that seems like that's the type of show that would be right up my alley. I just hadn't had a chance, I just never had a chance to watch it. There were too many other shows to watch, like X-Files. So yeah, we'll wrap this up here. I can't think, I mean, I don't know, I'm just spacing right now. Is there any TV, I mean, Home Improvement was pretty good, but I don't think season 1 was the best season of Home Improvement. That's an interesting question. What was the best season of Home Improvement? Johnny Sizzle Chest says, it's because Johnny was always way expletive cooler than Danny. Oh yeah, it's not even close. Daniel LaRusso's just this Jersey punk. An absolute punk. I mean, he was almost like he was kind of like a woke goof before woke goofs were a thing. I mean, another interesting thing that I think the success of Cobra Kai owes this particular aspect to is that the 80s were just that much cooler than the late 2010s and 2020s. And Johnny kind of reminds everybody of that. So that's an interesting generational comparison. It's almost like Johnny feels bad for some of these kids for having to live in this time period, in a way. I mean, they probably could have expanded on that even further. Yeah, once they moved away from the Cobra Kai methodology, the show kind of went downhill really fast. But I have to say, they made a good attempt in the finale. So if you haven't seen it, check that out. If you've made it to season 5, you might as well finish it, because the finale's worth it. But yeah, I mean, the real story is just the many missed opportunities along the way, and the fight scenes really start to get overdone. Lord Zed says, truth is he got ran out of Jersey. He's actually on the lam. That wouldn't be surprising. That wouldn't be surprising if the reason they were moving is because he's such a punk. He got in so much trouble they had to get out of Jersey. I mean, California was probably a lot more welcoming. Alright, so yeah, we'll wrap it up there. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll probably do a part 2 on this later. Plenty more to come. Hope everybody enjoyed another edition of the MINDSHOCK podcast. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you're subscribed, like, and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.